Hello, my name's Hugh Dunstan, and today I'm going to be talking about high demand amino acids and how they can be used for exercise and recovery. Today I'll be speaking from the Boatshed to address 6 frequently asked questions associated with the use of HDAA for supporting exercise and recovery. Why don't protein supplements work during and immediately after exercise? Why are food proteins broken down? Why do we need amino acids for exercise? What is the HDAA supplementation concept? What are peptides and peptide hormones? And why haven't HDAA been discovered before? So why doesn't taking protein supplements actually help you during an exercise routine? Main reason is that blood is diverted from your digestive tract to the muscles to support the energy. This is needed because the muscles require more oxygen, more nutrients for energy, and you have to get rid of the waste products. So without digestion fully operating, taking protein supplements before, during and immediately after, they're just going to sit in the stomach. They're not going to be processed, they're not going to release the amino acids that you need when you need them. Sure, a few hours later, they'll eventually be broken down and provide some benefit. Why do proteins need to be broken down? Well, proteins are made of amino acids. Think of them as building blocks. So you build up this complex structure of amino acids joined together to form a protein. When you ingest the protein, when you eat your food, these complex structures are broken down in the stomach, in the digestive tract, to release the amino acids, which are then absorbed by the body. The body then uses those absorbed amino acids to make its own proteins. It makes what it needs when it needs them, and it's very efficient. So why do amino acids need to be supplied during exercise? Well, amino acids are used in multiple functions in the body, lots of biochemical reactions, other than just making proteins. So it's really important to have a good supply of the right amino acids. Now, our research has shown that specifically 6 amino acids are lost at much higher rates than other amino acids, sometimes 10 to 15-fold faster rates, which is very substantial. So these amino acids are in high demand. Now, particularly when you sweat, people know that you lose fluid, and they also know that you're losing electrolytes, things like sodium and chloride. So what people haven't appreciated is that when you sweat, you also lose amino acids. And in particular, these 6 amino acids are lost at very high rates in the sweat. Now, some of our latest research has shown that the reason that they may be lost in the sweat is that they're involved in a mechanism to help conserve the loss of sodium. Sodium and chloride, they're absolutely fundamental electrolytes that the body has to have, must maintain the proper levels in the blood, or you lose control and you go into a very bad health condition. So the body goes all out to try and retain the sodium and the chloride, and we believe that the amino acids play a role in that reabsorption process as the sweat fluid goes from the gland out to the surface of the skin. So in that little tubular tract between the gland and the surface of the skin, there's a massive process of resorption of sodium and chloride. I think most people heavily involved in sport, exercise and training have probably heard of BCAA, or the branched chain amino acids. This is a set of amino acids that are actually essential in the diet. We have to take them in, and there's a lot of research to show that they actually are effective in helping recovery from exercise, training, workouts. So how are they different to our product? Well, we've spent a lot of time researching what's actually lost the most during exercise. So we've measured what goes out in sweat, we've measured what goes out in urine, and we've also measured what happens in the blood. And what we found is that there's a set of 6 amino acids that are actually depleted very, very rapidly during exercise. And these are not the branched chain amino acids. So effectively what happens is when you're exercising, the blood's diverted from the digestive tract to the muscles. So you can't eat or replenish your stocks of amino acids. So what the body does is to actually break down its own proteins, usually in the muscles, to provide the amino acids that it needs. In doing so, it releases those 6 high demand amino acids that it needs, but there's another 14 that are also released from the proteins, because there are 20 amino acids usually involved in making proteins. Now, of those 14 that are also released as excess or wastage, that includes the branched chain amino acids. So if you're doing a lot of exercise and you're breaking down your own proteins to make the amino acids you need, then you're going to be releasing a lot of the BCAA. So the strategy for our products, the Optimate and the Electrate, is that they contain the 6 amino acids that are in high demand by the body to support exercise. So you can take them before, during and immediately after. They're rapidly absorbed because they don't need digestion, and they're very effective at getting to where the body needs them, when it needs them to support the exercise. Now if you're taking these high demand amino acids during your exercise or immediately after, then you reduce the demand on the body to break down its own proteins in the muscles. By reducing that demand to break down the muscle proteins, you're also reducing the loss of those branch chains. So if you like, you can consider this new product concept of Optimate and Electrate as actually getting in a step ahead to prevent the loss of the BCAA. So you no longer need to take the BCAA in your recovery because you've actually reduced the amount lost during the exercise. And let's face it, we all eat pretty good diets these days, so you can actually get a lot of the essential amino acids that you need from eating well. What you can't get is a supply of the high demand amino acids by eating during exercise. So what we've done is to provide a supplement that contains just those high demand amino acids, and they are rapidly absorbed, and so they can support your endeavours for that exercise period. The question is often asked, what's the difference between a protein, polypeptide and an amino acid? Okay, so a protein is built of amino acids joined together in a long chain. And effectively, a protein is what we call a polypeptide. Now there are also structures in the body that contain 2 amino acids joined together. That's called a dipeptide. If you have 3 amino acids joined together, that's a tripeptide, and so on. So the peptides are about amino acids that are joined together. And a polypeptide simply means there are lots and lots and lots, and that's what's usually in a protein. Now, people ask us, do we have peptide hormones in our Optimate and Electrate products? And the answer is no, we don't. We have single amino acids. We've done the research to find out that there are 6 amino acids that are in high demand during exercise and are needed for recovery. And those 6 amino acids are supplied in what we call a free form, so they're just the amino acids. They are on their own, if you like, they're not joined together, and there are no peptide hormones. And just to follow on from that, our products are also tested for WADA banned substances, so that's for the drugs that are used in sport. This does a complete screen of over 200 different entities. It's been checked, and we have a certificate showing that the random samples we've provided are actually drug-free. Some skeptics ask us, well, why hasn't this been found before? And to be honest, parts of it have been. So they've known for a long time, many decades, that in sweat there are lots of amino acids, and there are some amino acids are high demand ones that are there in very high concentrations. But nobody really bothered to follow up and ask the question, why? What are they doing there? So we did, and we've done lots of studies, we've published lots of articles, and we've actually shown that different types of people sweat differently. They either have very high volume sweat that's actually quite dilute in terms of the amino acids and the electrolytes, and then there are those people who don't sweat that much at all, but they have very high concentrations of amino acids in the sweat that they produce. We've also looked at what happens, what's the relationship between the amino acids and the electrolytes. And our latest research is showing that there may be mechanisms involved where the amino acids are sacrificed to reclaim, to reabsorb the sodium and the chloride from the sweat. Sodium and chloride are very, very important to the body. The body has to maintain levels of sodium chloride at very strict levels in the blood, or otherwise it's very harmful to the body. And so there are mechanisms whereby the sweat produced in the gland, as it travels through the sweat duct to the surface of the skin, there are all these processes in place to actually resorb the sodium and the chloride. And we believe that we have some preliminary evidence that the amino acids are actually sacrificed in a process where the amino acids go into the sweat and the sodium and the chloride are brought back into the body. And that's a very important process, and particularly if you're working out or competing in a hot climate, then it's really important to maintain your stock levels of both electrolytes and amino acids. Thank you for joining us today, and keep an eye out for more podcasts on HDAA in the future.